Hello there, friends, and welcome to Realife Conversations for Christian Coaches. We are so excited to be with you again today in conversation. I'm your host, Teresa McCloy.
And I'm your co-host, Erica Vinson. Here on the podcast each week, we want to have real conversations to help you grow successful and sustainable coaching businesses and still stay grounded in what truly matters.
I want to share practical tools, honest conversations, and even our own experiences as we both still coach each and every week with private clients and group coaching and different things. And we also want to bring on some guests that we know and that we trust to support you in your coaching practice as you live from rest, not rush.
So whether you're just getting started or have been coaching for years, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's conversation.
Well, Erica, we are back from a big celebration that we had last week of 350 episodes. So fun. And we just had a great time talking about that and reminiscing.
Good.
But now we're in my favorite place, which is the present and the future and all of those things. And, when we go through the intro each week, I think about that idea of helping a coach to live from a place of rest, not rush. One of the things that can feel like, oh, this is just such an energy. I just constantly need to do this is talking about your business and putting your business out into the marketplace. I have talked about it for years as kind of marketing and branding and put those two words together. We even teach about that inside of our community. But for me, there's something that's beginning to shift as I've been doing coaching now since 2016. And something's beginning to shift in me. It's really more about what is your voice in the marketplace? Your voice out there in the world, and what do you want to talk about? What do you want to say to people? I actually just did a Facebook Live right before you and I hopped on. I was even a little late for our recording, right? So my apologies. Because I was on Facebook talking about our coach certification program. So for those of you that don't know and might be listening in, we have a program where we train and certify you in the content that we have to help you with your coaching practice, whether you've been coaching for a long time and you need tools and resources, or you're brand new and you want to get started. And this would be a great way for you to get started to have some content. But I'm so comfortable talking about it because I believe in it. I see the results of it for other coaches. But as we dive in today to talk about this idea of how do you network, share about your coaching practice, share about your business, we're going to give you some very practical, they may even seem like, well, duh, that's obvious. They may seem obvious, but yet we all need the reminder. So whether you've been coaching for a while or you're brand new, these are the basics to me. These are of course, that's something I need to be doing. And we also want you to feel very comfortable doing it.
Yeah. And I think that even naming that these are the basics, but they're going to look unique to you. You may end up with 5 different pages we talk about the mind map tool a lot. You might end up with 5 different mind maps from this podcast, just putting each one of these basics in the circle. And then what does this look like for me as I'm using my voice in the marketplace?
Absolutely. So let's dive in to these 5. And I say, you may go, well, of course. And here's something you might listen into with these basics. Am I doing it already? And if I am, how can I be clearer in that?
Yeah.
But how can I have more purpose in doing that? And is that something I need to be doing in this season? Like, which one comes to mind for you that this is probably something I need to be doing right now?
Yeah.
So let's dive into the very first one.
Yeah, the first one is networking. So as we said, nothing new under the sun, but just noticing, what does networking mean for you? For us, just a couple of things that are really core about networking is that building authentic connections with people in your circle. Years ago, you and I worked at the same church. Teresa, it was a small church, small in Southern Illinois. And I would go to these big giant conferences and I'd think, come home and go, oh, I can't afford that equipment. I can't afford that material. And what I learned there was it doesn't matter. What people are looking for is authentic connections. And so that was something we could create for families. And we get to create that for as a coach as well, is building authentic connections. What else is in that realm of networking?
Well, I think look for places where people that are your clients are gathering.
Mm,
So, where are they gathering that would be the people you work with? An example might be if you want to coach with women, where do women gather? In my community, anyway, there's a couple of spots depending on age categories. They gather at gyms if they're into fitness and working out. They gather at maybe a young moms group or something like that. If they're young moms and kids, there might be play dates that are set up by a church or a community or whatever. People gather at chamber events if you're into business coaching, things like that. I, for years, and it was part of a lot of growth in my business, used a networking community of business owners called Business Networking International, BNI. So there's chapters like that. There are women's business groups. Look for those types of groups, organizations that are national organizations, but they have a speaker every month
mm.
or every week. They have a way that they gather on a regular basis. Usually that's a pretty good gold mine of connection, and you can go in and be authentic. You could be their speaker, you could join. You're not going in to sell right off the bat, but you're going in to form connection. So that's really something that's worked super well for me in my local community.
I love that. Just looking for opportunities that are already there. It's like casting your line into a stocked pond and going, yeah, this is where people are already hanging out. And I just want to be a part of that
Yeah,
and show up really authentically. Yeah. Another part of that networking is really just sharing naturally about what you do when the
for
conversation
sure.
allows. And
Yeah.
we talk about that so often. Just being prepared. What are you going to say when someone says, what do you do? It's a very natural way that we interact. And so thinking about that and doing some pre-decision can be really helpful.
Don't miss the opportunity to speak. And if you're speaking authentically, as you said earlier, it's not gonna feel like a sales pitch or whatever. Let's look at the next one, which really goes in with this one a lot. So
Mm.
networking is what you wanna be thinking of. Who is in this room that I know? Who is in this group that I know? I want to meet authentically. The next one is local involvement. So being present in your community. Again, I mentioned chamber earlier, but chamber, your church, small business groups, but there's a part of that that I think is volunteering, coming alongside others and just sharing a workload together. We have someone on our team that volunteers at a food pantry every Monday. And it's part of the give back for her to her community, but it's also that connection. What's going on out in the world? There's something when you're volunteering that gives you the real perspective of the pain points of people and what's
Mhm.
happening. We can become kind of isolated if we're not careful. So, volunteering in your local community might be one way to be involved locally.
Yeah, and just being visible and being consistent to show up in those places creates trust, which is so much a part of that you're looking to create a relationship when you're coaching. And so if you're wanting to create a business that honors that relational aspect, what a better way to be consistent, be faithful, just be present in that local space.
Yeah, and I think dependability is a great one because it shows already what your characters is and what your value is in life when you show up and build those relationships. So now as we get down, those two are very relational. They're very like, what can I do right here? I would say local involvement could be taken to also out there involvement. I built some of my business through joining some online groups that I was a
Mhm.
part of, and I was faithful in those communities. I did even some volunteer work in those communities. So, you can transfer all of those things, both networking and local involvement, over into the online space. I really wouldn't recommend you start there, but that's up to you where you want to begin. Could be a both and. The third one though is starting to now get into the the business building of how do I give away some free resources so I can build some connection through permission to send you some information by email, by a download. Now we're starting to talk about what would benefit and be a win for somebody that I already know how to do or that would be generosity based. So free resources and starting to build an email list connection.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking about this on a walk this morning, thinking about clients even that I've worked with in the past that I just rhythmically check in with, not for the sake of saying, "Hey, do you want to work together again?" But if I see something that reminds me of them or is a blessing for them, I can share it and say, "Hey, I was thinking of you. How are you doing?" And so it just continues to keep that connection. And there's some other really intentional ways more towards that using your voice in the marketplace where you might have a like simple tool or something that's downloadable or tips maybe that address something. Some of the things we think are so simple that we go, "Oh, everybody knows that." Don't take that for
They
granted.
don't.
There's so many things.
They don't. And even if they do, just like this podcast, we said these are some basics. You may be doing this. Many, many times we need the reminder and we have to
Mhm.
hear something over and over again because we might not be a season of our life that we're ready to receive it. So don't think that something you know how to do is simple for someone else. We have had
Yeah.
a download for a long time. We're getting ready to change it, but we have had a download for a long time about 5 simple steps around your calendar because we just know that people struggle with managing their time and managing what goes on their calendar, what comes off their calendar, those types of things. We were just talking about like what's one of our top resources, and that resource is still one of our top resources. And
Mm.
we have, by the way, a lot of free resources on our website, thereliveprocess.com. Just click on resources. Some of them we will ask for your email for, and you will be a part of our email list. So if you're not on it, that would be a way. But some of them are absolutely free.
You mentioned it, Teresa. Some of those things, because of the value they have, there is that exchange of an email address. And so that might be a step you want to take in using your voice in the marketplace, building your business just a step further. And then being able to say, okay, if you're going to have someone say, could I have the honor of having your email list? Could I show up in your inbox? How are you going to steward that connection that you've made? And so using that to nurture, whether it's a blog or whether it's you have an extraordinary moment that you post every day. That's something that people can follow. There just needs to be a consistency, even if it's once a month.
I'm actually going to write an email, or we have an email that's coming out tomorrow on consistency. Because
Mm,
as we celebrated 350
yeah.
episodes, as we've celebrated writing an email for almost 7 years, we've changed days from Thursdays to now it comes out on Fridays, but we've written it every week. And so that consistency piece of being generous
Mm.
with what's going on with you, authentic with your story, if that's a part of your brand, and that consistency piece over time is building that relationship. Let's look at the fourth one. We have 5 of them. Let's look at the fourth one, workshops and teaching or training. This one probably for you and I both has been one that we've used a lot. You will find you'll use some of these more than others. I've actually used all 5 of these. That's why I put them in the list. But workshops and trainings can be a revenue generator. Absolutely. They can be a large revenue generator depending on what you're doing, or they can be absolutely free. You can say, I'm going to talk to my local chamber and I'm going to do it for free because I get the exposure, I get the connections. Maybe I have a sign up list there that I collect the emails on. Just don't miss the opportunity to do this. I just did a online teaching for a coaching organization, nonprofit organization, CCNI, last Friday, and from that, I have several one-to-one connections. I'm meeting with people, encouraging them, starting to build that relationship because I'm was willing to do the 1 hour and I was willing to give out my email and say, "Let's have a coffee chat. Let's get to know
Mm.
one another. Let's connect. So, yeah, workshops and teaching. I know you've had that experience as well.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you had the opportunity to introduce yourself to someone and just give them a taste of the work that you do, would you take it?
Yeah.
And so often a workshop really is just that entry point. And sometimes, we've done things together, for example, in a school district
Mm,
where we might go in and you work with a broader group. There may be some individual coaching that comes out of it as a call to action, as a way to dive deeper. So it's a great way to serve. And it also can be revenue generating, as you said.
I do. I'll harp on this one just a little bit for those that you have been coaching for a while. You might think, well, they don't want to pay me enough. But I'm like, I think there's a book titled this. My mentor, Dan Miller, said, are you leaving money on the table? Are you
Mm,
leaving money on the table because, they're asking, especially if it's virtual, they're asking for an hour of your time around content you probably already know well. So going back to that, what somebody else doesn't, it's
mm,
easy for you. You could talk about it all day long.
yeah.
And yet you're like, well, they didn't want to pay me what my coaching fee was, or this and that and the other. But I often think if God's opening the door
Mm,
to say, who I just talked to someone today, there is no way our paths would have crossed. No way. We're clear across the country from one another. And we even said it out loud to each other. We would have never, ever met had I not
mm,
done that workshop on Friday.
mhm.
We have so many connections in our story.
Yeah.
It was just such a blessing to both of us. And if I hadn't done a workshop,
Mhm.
never would have happened. And so what blessing are you missing out on for, well, I had this rate per hour. And I'm not saying you give everything away or you lower your rates. I also do, training and I get paid very well to do it and those types of things. But I think it's a both and
Mm.
generosity and value on both points. Let's look at the very last one. And again, this seems obvious, but it's actually asking your clients that you currently have for a referral. So, why is that important and how can that be part of you growing and sharing about your coaching practice?
Well, story matters. And I think that no matter what people's experience is, when they've been sold something, they have an impression about that. And so you can say all day long, I could say all day long, oh, coaching is valuable and I would love to work with you. And yet to be able to have an authentic connection, which we want to create and foster, but also to hear someone else's story of, oh, I've worked with this person. They really helped me to gain clarity, or my confidence has built as a result of coaching. I've never moved forward before at the rate that I had when I was actually coaching with this person. And so just hearing someone else's experience
Mhm.
sometimes can build that bridge to trust that we want and will continue to do, but that
Yeah.
relational connection is everything.
Yeah, it builds that bridge so much faster. Like, like, and trust is often what we talk about. You have to have
Mhm.
knowledge that you're even in business, have a coaching practice. You have to trust and have an agreement that, yeah, we're going to work together. But you can almost go around the trust one when somebody else says, oh, you're going to love working with so and so. I would highly recommend. And if you just pause for a minute and think about things that you purchase, things
Yeah.
that you do, why? I am maybe the world's worst at if I love something, you're gonna know about it. And no
And you
matter
might
what
even
it is.
receive it
Yeah,
as a
and you
gift.
might even receive it as a gift. So if I buy something for you, it's probably because I already have it. And yeah, I want all my friends to have it at that point. And that's referral business. I don't care if it's something I bought off of Amazon that I think everybody should have one. I remember one time for Christmas buying everybody in my family a little thing that would hold your avocado after you had cut it in half and keep. Did I give?
Yeah,
Oh, I probably did.
absolutely. Yeah.
She's in the inner circle. And it's because I thought it was so cool and neat. And I used it probably. I'm moving my daughter this week and I came across and I'm like, you don't use this. And she's like, no. Okay. Let's get rid of it. We're not moving things we don't use. We made a lot of packs around how many
Mm,
coffee mugs we have and all the kind of things. So that's a little sidebar, but we refer business. We
mm,
refer things that we love. It's human nature to talk about and tell about. So it's not wrong of us to ask our clients at the end of a session, go, we've been working together for 2 or 3 months. Do you know anyone in your circle that might enjoy coaching? And would you be willing to make that introduction?
Mm,
One of the things I learned in BNI is it's a total referral based program. So the idea is you're all referring each other business. And I learned how to, if someone says, I'm going to have to buy car insurance, my car insurance is so high, a name automatically pops into my head of who
mhm.
I would refer because I've met them, I know them, I've done business with them, or I've heard about their business for a long period of time through that networking organization. That's what you're looking for here. And don't be afraid to say the last part and say, who do you know? And then would you be willing to make the introduction? The best compliment you could pay me is to send an email to both of us and introduce. You need to just walk them through the process. Just introduce them, say, hey, I'd love for you to meet my coach. I don't know if they could be of any benefit for you, but she'd
Mm.
be more than willing to hop on, or he'd be more than willing to hop on for 20 or 30 minutes and have a conversation with you. That's it. I'll take it from there. And that makes you feel more comfortable as you get on that call of, "Oh, my friend Paul told me about you and I just appreciate your time." And then if they're not a right fit, you can ask them, who do you know? Now that you've heard a little bit about my business and we've gotten to know each other, is there anybody that you know? What
Yeah.
referral marketing takes is time.
Yeah, it does. And I think there are opportunities connecting back to even that fourth way that we talked about, which was the workshops and those types of things. Sometimes we miss experiences that we have with people when they're in the room. They've signed up, they've been a part of something, even just to say, hey, would you just provide a sentence?
Yeah.
That and get their permission that you wouldn't mind using so that if somebody else asks about this, I could just share your story.
Yep. I know. That's the referral of a testimony is
Hmm.
oftentimes what we call
Yeah.
it. Or even as you're doing those workshops or presentations or whatever, always going to that next level. We used to say everybody has a whole network behind them of people they know. So if it's not right for them, who might it be right for?
Mhm.
Yesterday, I was talking with another person and we were talking about the coach certification actually. And she said, do you mind if I forward this information to another coach that I've been talking to? Like, absolutely. I'd love for you to do that. And if she wants to hop on a call, be glad
Mhm.
to. But it's being comfortable in your skin to talk about what you're doing, believe in what you're doing, and that confidence and clarity. And these 5 ways are some really basic things that can be a part of, wow, I needed to remember that I want to look for some workshops. Maybe I want to look for a place to volunteer. Maybe I want to network. Maybe I need to put together something that would be free. Video is one of the easiest. Just get on and record a video and make a link to it in a private YouTube channel that you can
Mhm.
send to people. You don't have to do the whole PDF thing. But what this fall or in the next few months would be the invitation that you would say yes to
Mhm.
and create something around to move your business forward, no matter how long you've been in business.
Yeah, what a great action step, as you said. And I love we've put 5 ways out there. Choose one.
Yeah.
Mind map that one out. Phone a friend, share your ideas, get creative and have fun with it, but take a step.
An action step is what we call them. And it may take 2 or 3 action steps to get you there. It may take a phone call, an email, something, showing up somewhere to volunteer, whatever it might be. But we just encourage you to do that and create that path forward. If you would like to connect with us, just go to the reallifeprocess.com. You can click on the free community tab up at the top. Join our free community. We've had a lot of new people join our community lately as we did the summit a few weeks ago and just been in some different places. And so come on in and be a part of that. It's not a social platform, it's actually a private platform that we have. So we're not going to bombard you with a lot of crazy things. If you have a question or a comment for Erica and I, you can tag us there. Both of us are there and we're available to have conversation, network with you, get to know you, and support you in the work you're doing as a coach. We encourage you, friends, to remember, yeah, we're on this journey together to live in our businesses from rest, not rush, and that every ordinary day has an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them.
See you next week.